So I was scrolling on my iPad recently, like I usually do from time to time, and the YouTube algorithm blessed me with something that I never really looked for on YouTube, and I didn't know that I wanted, but I definitely need it. I say all that to say, yesterday I was making some coffee, and on YouTube I saw a story pop up about 6 lions who were brothers in South Africa who killed 40% of all the lions in their region in a quest to rule their territory. I clicked on the video, I saw the 10-minute story, and I was blown away. I had no idea about all the trials and tribulations that lions go through, especially male lions, in their quest to survive. From that point on, as you've probably guessed, I went down a rabbit hole of watching more videos about these particular lions and their tribe and where they came from. And that was pretty much my Sunday. What I learned by hearing about these lions, because they are Mapogo, it's Mapogo. And I'm not going to give away the entire story. I'll link in the description a YouTube channel where you could go and watch and listen to the story yourself. I won't do it justice. However, the story tracks these 6 lions who were brothers and how they came up from when they were cubs all the way till their demise. The lions ruled from around 2006 to 2012. And during their reign, they were vicious, they were brutal, but they also were very fond of one another. And the reason behind this podcast episode is I've had this on my mind after hearing their story. And one thing that continued to ring true for me is competition in life is necessary. We all are competing, even if we don't know it yet. Part of being someone who thrives in life is understanding the reality of life. Watching these videos and hearing the stories of these lion prides in Africa hit home with me because it showed the true nature and the true instincts of these creatures. And it made me think about the climate of everything that we have going on in life. We have savagery, we have compassion, we have family and family ties and the bond that you share between your family and people you are close to, and commitments to the group. You have death, you have life. There's so many ties to what goes on the Serengeti, what goes on in Africa, on the plains between these creatures and their adversaries and fellow lions. It blew my mind just watching the story, seeing how vicious they are. And it made me realize that we deal with a lot of the same things in life, in our reality. And some people are blinded by the modern conveniences we have, by the fact that, you have a job that you go to, or you have a way to earn a living. But with that being said, we still are competing. Inherently, part of being a living creature, being a human being, is competing. The fact that you are here is a miracle. Everybody who has been birthed is a warrior and a winner, because just to be conceived and to be alive is, you're one in millions and millions of possibilities to even be here. So if this is your first time listening, I am your host, Monte Lee. This is the Karat Juice Podcast. And I wanted to make sure that today I spoke about the message of competition and how important it really is in life. Don't forget that. That's what I want you to leave with here today. So, housekeeping. Do me a favor. If you enjoyed this podcast, you enjoyed the content that I'm putting out, please rate and review the podcast, please. 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. Share it with a friend if you feel so inclined, if you think they would get value out of it. Here on the podcast, I provide commentary and perspective on popular culture, things I find interesting. We talk about dating here and there. I also add in true crime if I think it's worth covering. And I also will add in productivity tips if you want to know how to be more productive and, hey, maybe even start a podcast yourself. So without further delay, I don't want to waste your time. So I'm going to get right into the content. Competition. Why does it exist? Biologically, I would say competition is hardwired into nearly every living creature. It's a biological imperative. I know you've heard before, only the strong survive. The stronger creatures, like if you've seen it like in birds, for example, a lot of the times you'll see if there's a hatchling of birds, the mother is going to get food, or the parents are going to get food. They bring food back. If one of the hatchlings is stronger than the other hatchlings, it will take the food before that other hatchling. And over time, if the other hatchling is weaker and smaller, the mother won't feed the other hatchling because it knows inherently it has a least of a chance of survival. Now, I know that's a bit crude, but what I'm starting to understand and know is, as a human being, you have to compartmentalize the human experience and realize, hey, we don't all have the same set of, we don't all have the same set of skills. We don't all have the same set of abilities, strengths, and weaknesses. But once you make it here and once you're here on earth, we all are competing. What the end goal is and what your final goal and point you want to reach, that could vary. But life in itself is a competition. Are you going to show up every day and do your best? Are you going to try to be the best version of yourself each and every day? That's what I want you to think about. And that's the mentality that I think gets lost in the culture, where everybody is trying to just pass out participation trophies for people, when inherently part of the human experience and part of your journey is going through obstacles, struggling sometimes, not having it all figured out. I think that gets lost nowadays, and it's important. Watching the Mapogo Lions go through their rise and their fall helped me to slow down and just understand that we are all just trying to survive. We are all just trying to make it. We are all just trying to figure this thing called life out. And we could get lost in all of the distractions of life if we lose sight of that. Now, I'm not condoning the route and the nature these lions go about, but dominating their region. I'm not talking about violence here. But what I am saying and trying to add to you is, instead of claws and instead of brutality, the weapon of choice for these magnificent lions. I mean, these guys were huge, huge manes, bulky, strong, powerful, majestic. Instead of having those weapons, why don't you arm yourself to succeed in life with knowledge, with awareness, with critical thinking, with determination and mental fortitude? We are in some very strange times when it comes to the state of the country, with the midterm elections coming up, with inflation at an all-time high, with the Supreme Court passing or overturning Roe v. Wade. There are a lot of different stories swirling around in the culture. But one thing rings true. Whether you like it or not, you are going to have to compete. You are going to have to compete to be able to earn more income. That's a fact. It's something that you can't change. You need to make yourself valuable if you're in a situation that you're not fond of. The same thing goes for your political affiliation. If you don't like a certain law, if you don't like policy that just got voted in, if you don't like that Roe v. Wade just got overturned, well, what can you do about it from here? That is incumbent upon you and how many people you can sway to go to the ballot box and vote for it in your state. It's about competition. It's about making sure that you don't let life happen to you. You go and you act upon and you change your own reality by doing, by being the best version of yourself, by not laying down. I'll say it like this. I have a newfound respect for all the creatures that are in Africa that are on the Serengeti, the gazelles, the lions, the zebra, the hippo, the hyena. It goes on and on. I kind of envy that their lives are so simple. When they get up, they're not thinking about what I need to do today. It's already ingrained in them. Water, food, safety, family, lineage. Repeat. I think all of the things that we have going on into today, at least for me, do you ever have in your mind where you think like, what are we here for? What is all of this about? Why am I going to work every day? Why am I spending time on this certain thing? Is there a better way for me to utilize my time than how I'm doing it right now? I have these thoughts a lot. And they're starting to become more prevalent in my mind recently. I have realized, and I'm starting to kind of come to grips with, sometimes the best thing that you can do in your life is slow down a bit and take a step back and just have some awareness on everything that's going on around you. Now, me personally, I'm not where I want to be in life. I like my life. I like what I have going on, but I have bigger goals and aspirations, things I want to accomplish. And I think more so than anything, I want to start putting out things that are going to impact people in a profound way. I'm not sure exactly what that is just yet, but I'm going to fall forward trying to accomplish that. I don't even know if this is making a lot of sense, but it's real, at least. Too often in so many things that we experience in life, different problems or situations that we got going on, looking at the gas prices, trying to figure out. I know some people are feeling like this right now, looking at the gas. Do I spend money on gas, or do I spend it on medicine for my family member or for my child? Or do I stay at the job that I dislike but is paying the bills, but I haven't got a raise in a couple of years? Is that your situation? There's seasons in life. There's times that are tough. There's times that are great. There's ebbs and flows in life. There's peaks and valleys. But I wanted to at least let you know this. You have to compete. In life, you have to compete. People will try to tell you that you can't do something. People are going to try to tell you you need something to be able to accomplish your dreams. And I'm sitting here to tell you the number one thing that I am certain of that will ensure that you are going to fail is if you believe it in your mind. What I'm starting to recognize with media, with other people, with programming that's been happening for decades. The key to keeping you from reaching your full potential is your belief that you can't reach your full potential. That's what you need to guard against. I want you to compete. I want you to win. I'm competing as well. And you want to know something? Let me tell you a story. I played sports in high school and in college. I played basketball. I love basketball. I love to play. I was a center. I was an undersized center. I'm 6'6", but I love basketball. And when I went to my small college, I played center. I was an undersized center. My game resembled that of Draymond Green. I was a defensive player. I love to facilitate, pass the ball. I love to block shots, rebound. I'll give you a couple of drop steps in the lane too. That Draymond Green, little Tim Duncan was like my game. Okay. When I played for a small Christian college. We had like 350 students. Okay. When I was a freshman and I played my first game, I was like maybe 200 pounds soaking wet, maybe. Super skinny. And we went up against a school called Davenport, and they were bigger than us. And when I tell you we got out there and we had to lose, we lost by like 80 points.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. It was crazy. These dudes had been eating steaks and potatoes since like 4 years old. They was huge. They was massive. And they dominated us and me. And you want to know something? I was glad that I had that experience looking back on it because it toughened me up. It showed me that I had a lot of work to do. So the next year, by the time I was a sophomore, I got better. Got into the weight room a little bit, learned the game of basketball in a more in-depth way, learned how to communicate better with my teammates, got some experience. The next time we went and played Davenport, hey, we didn't lose by that much. We lost by like maybe 20, okay? Fast forward to by the time I was a junior and a senior, and hey, I was around 220 pounds, 225. I gained like 20, 25 pounds of muscle working in the weight room. I had way better awareness. I was more confident because with the reps I put in over years. And by the time I was a senior, I was an All-American. Our little small Christian college was beating some of the bigger schools that were inviting us to go and play them. And we were number one in the nation towards the end of the season that year as far as our rank. I say all of that to say the competition that I experienced as a freshman, getting my butt whooped, helped to build character. It helped to show me that you don't have to have it all figured out, but having a spirit of competition and having that mental fortitude and being a competitor and being competitive and embracing adversity is the key to life. I think that the key to true happiness and true joy is going through struggle and going through adversity and not letting it damper your outlook and your mentality on life. I think we go through all of these things for a reason. And the difference and key to coming through it is how you handle all of that adversity and those tough times. It's been a weird and crazy past couple of years, I know. Throughout the pandemic, with what we have going on now with inflation, house prices crazy going through the roof, people asking $20,000, $30,000 over asking. But I wanted to just let you know that everybody doesn't have it figured out. If you're on Instagram all the time, you see people, posting on Instagram looking like they're living it up. Sometimes they don't even got it like that. Sometimes they got a fake private jet. I've seen stories about that, which is nuts. Not to knock nobody, but just saying. Instagram is the highlight reel. It's not real life. Some people do have it, but it's not real life. You only see the highlight reels. You never see the lowlights. What can you take away from really me just kind of giving my thoughts and what I've been feeling after hearing about the Mapogo Lions? Never give up. Don't be afraid to fail. If you're going to fail at something, fall forward, learn from it, and get better, and live to fight another day. I think we get caught in the rut of thinking that the difference from you succeeding and winning in life is somebody else doing something to help you. And that is the wrong mentality. The difference, I'll say it again, in you reaching your fullest potential happens with you. It happens in your mind. You making the decision that, hey, I'm not satisfied with what I have going on. What do I need to do? What can I do to change what's been going on in my life? We all know the definition to insanity, right? Class, we all know the definition to insanity, right? What is it? You got it right. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Let's break the cycle. Let's live with a plan and with an approach that's proven to work. And what is that? It's embracing adversity. It's having a mentality where you know that struggle is going to come. You know that obstacles are going to be in your way, but you embrace it and you're going to get better and you're not afraid to fail. Most of the people who are successful in life have failed. Failure is part of the deal with anything that you have going on. So put it on you. What can you do in your life right now? What are some things that you wish you had going on? What can you do starting this upcoming week to improve what you got going on as far as that? Think about it. There's so many things that we have going on in our lives, and I don't think we think about them. We just, at least for me, we just kind of put things off and we just continue to go through the motions, and I could be better about that. I know. And I'm not going to act like I have it all figured out. You guys are here with me on this journey. But yeah, it doesn't sound like it, but I actually was really inspired by seeing the life of these lions and how they go about their business and how they live by the sword, die by the sword, not afraid to fail, not afraid to die to protect their families. It's inspiring. So I encourage you, when you have some free time, open up YouTube, check out the story of the Mapogo lions who are on the Sebi Sands National Park Reserve. They actually conduct safaris out there. It's in South Africa near the Kruger region. And it's some very inspiring stuff. Viewer discretion is advised. On the videos that I was watching, they show everything. I mean, everything. It's a dose of true reality, of survival of the fittest, of the circle of life. Shout out to the Lion King. But it helped to give me perspective on the importance of competing. We're all creatures here on this earth. We all need to compete to get what we want. And I also wanted to add this caveat as well. Just because you're competing does not mean you wish ill will on the next person or you want to see the other person fail. When I was playing basketball and when I was playing, organized ball, I didn't want the other team or the person I was playing with to fail. I wanted to see them at their best. When I'm competing, I want to beat you when you are at your best. I didn't want you to be injured. I didn't want anybody to be not feeling well or anything like that. I love the competition and the game, and I want to play you and I want to beat you at your best. I'm not saying I'm the best basketball player in the world. However, I am a competitor through and through. I love to compete. I love to defend. I love to, that camaraderie comes with playing sports. I think that's important for so many people. If you have kids, if you have family members or friends or a brother or sister, somebody who's of that age and they can get into organized sports, I really think it's important on showing somebody the importance of what it means to compete. It's not about being better than people on like a human rights level or anything, but learning that part of life is going to separate you from so many different. It's going to put you in another level when it comes to your mentality and how you approach things on a daily basis. I cannot emphasize that enough. And I hope this is making sense. And if it isn't, I hope that it'll help at least one person. I've been switching things around when it comes to the formats here on this podcast. Let me know what you think about it. I wanted this to just be straight, unfiltered dialogue on what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking. And I hope that you guys like it. So this has been just some open-ended commentary on the importance of competition from your host, Monte Lee. This has been the Carrot Juice Podcast. Do me a favor, if you enjoyed this content, go ahead and rate and review the podcast. You can listen anywhere you find podcasts. You also can watch it on Spotify. And if you are so inclined, please, I just re-emphasize, do me a favor, rate it and review it. Reviews are helpful on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. Lastly, before we get out of here, do I have any other housekeeping that I need to do? Oh, also, carrotjuicepodcast.com, Karat juicepodcast.com for everything Carrot Juice Podcast. I'm also on Instagram at Carrot Juice Pod and as well as TikTok on Carrot Juice Podcast. You can find me on YouTube as well. Like, subscribe, and we're going to get out of here. I don't want to waste any more of your time. If you don't take anything else away from this podcast episode, just know this. Competition is good. You don't have to knock the next person to compete. And keep in mind that as creatures here on this earth, we are all competing. That's just a reality. Make sure that your mindset is one that's going to help you get to and above your goals. And like I say every time here on the Carrot Juice podcast, love someone, hug someone, do something good for someone, not expecting anything in return. And until next time, peace. You don't have to be in the boxing ring to be a great fighter. As long as you are true to yourself, you will succeed in your fight for that in which you believe. There are no pleasures in a fight, but some of my fights have been a pleasure to win. We can't be brave without fear. What you are thinking is what you're becoming. I would like to be remembered as the man who won the heavyweight title 3 times, who was humorous and who treated everyone right, as a man who never looked down on those who looked up to him, and who helped as many people as he could, as a man who stood up for his beliefs no matter what, as a man who tried to unite all humankind through faith and love. And if all that's too much, then I guess I'd settle for being remembered only as a great boxer who became a leader and a champion of his people. And I wouldn't even mind if folks forgot how pretty I was. The best way to make your dreams come true is to wake up. I wish people would love everybody else the way they love me. It would be a better world. Life is so short. Bible says it's like a vapor. I don't count my sit-ups. I only start counting when it starts hurting, because they're the only ones that count. It's lack of faith that makes people afraid of meeting challenges. And I believed in myself. Put yourself out on a limb, like me. You lose nothing when fighting for a cause. Truly great people in history never wanted to be great for themselves. All they wanted was the chance to do good for others and be close to God. If you even dream of beating me, you better wake up and apologize. Silence is golden when you can't think of a good answer. To be a great champion, you must believe you are the best. If not, pretend you are. It's funny, but those who hate me the most sometimes inspire me the most. I don't trust anyone who's nice to me, but rude to a waiter, because they would treat me the same if I were in that position. Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. Jokes? There are no jokes. The truth is the funniest joke of all. I calculate that I took 20,000 punches, but I earned millions and kept a lot of it. I may talk slow, but my mind is okay. I know I can learn to hit without getting hit. Champions are made from something they have deep inside of them: a desire, a dream, a vision. They have to have the skill and the will, but the will must be stronger than the skill. Don't count the days, make the days count. He who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in life. The greatest victory in life is to rise above the material things that we once valued most. I am the astronaut of boxing. Joe Louis and Dempsey were just jet pilots. I'm in a world of my own. A rooster crows only when it sees the light. Put him in the dark and he'll never crow. I have seen the light and I'm crowing. No one knows what to say in the loser's locker room. I am America. I am the part you won't recognize, but get used to me. Black, confident, cocky, my name, not yours, my religion, not yours, my goals, my own. Get used to me. My principles are more important than the money or my title. What keeps me going is goals. When I won the Golden Gloves in 1960, that made me realize I had a chance. And when I won the Olympics, that sealed it. I was the champ. Too many easy victories can ruin a fighter just as much as a long line of defeats. It's in my blood to be around people while I was training. People don't realize what they had till it's gone. Like President Kennedy, there was no one like him. The Beatles, and my man Elvis Presley. I was the Elvis of boxing. The critics only made me work harder. Live every day as it were your last, because someday you're going to be right. Superman don't need no seatbelt. It's hard to be humble when you're as great as I am. Only a man who knows what it's like to be defeated can reach down to the bottom of his soul and come up with that extra ounce of power it takes to win when the match is even. I am the greatest. I said that even before I knew I was. I have never heard anything that affected me like those words. Heavyweight champion of the world. Wisdom is knowing when you can't be wise. The man who views the world at 50 the same as he did at 20 has wasted 30 years of his life. I shook up the world. Me. We. I've made my share of mistakes along the way. But if I have changed even one life for the better, I haven't lived in vain. I'm not the greatest. I'm the double greatest. Hating people because of their color is wrong. And it doesn't matter which color does the hating. It's just plain wrong. I've wrestled with alligators. I've tussled with a whale. I done handcuff lightning and throw thunder in jail. I'm so fast that last night I turned off the light switch in my hotel room and was in bed before the room was dark. Put yourself out on a limb, sucker, like me. The fight is won or lost far away from the witnesses, behind the lines, in the gym, and out there on the road, long before I dance under those lights. It's not bragging if you can back it up. It isn't the mountains ahead to climb that wear you out. It's the pebble in your shoe. My wealth is in my knowledge of self, love, and spirituality. When you want to talk about who made me, you talk to me. Who made me is me. There are more pleasant things to do than beat up people. Champions aren't made in gyms. It takes pride and tiger's drive to build up the confidence, the ego, the power to defeat an opponent in the ring. Now you see me, now you don't. I don't get hit. I'm the fastest thing on 2 feet, man. Wars of nations are fought to change maps, but wars of poverty are fought to map change. I said I was the greatest. I never said I was the smartest. I am an ordinary man who worked hard to develop the talent I was given. I believed in myself, and I believe in the goodness of others. I've never let anyone talk me into not believing in myself. Not only do I knock them out, I pick the round. Friendship is a priceless gift that cannot be bought nor sold, but its value is far greater than a mountain made of gold. It's just a job. Grass grows, birds fly, waves pound the sand. I beat people up. You are as old as you think you are. I may have been the best fighter, but I was also the poorest. I had never been able to afford a first-class mouthpiece to protect my teeth. I had to wait until other fighters finished so I could borrow their headgear or their trunk or bandages. Don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. If my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it. Friendship is the hardest thing in the world to explain. It's not something you learn in school. But if you haven't learned the meaning of friendship, you really haven't learned anything. I'm young, I'm handsome, I'm fast. I can't possibly be beat. If you lose a big fight, it will worry you all of your life. It will plague you until you get your revenge. I love children. I can never pass them by without saying something to them. They make you want to start life all over again. Old age is just a record of one's whole life. To be able to give away riches is mandatory if you wish to possess them. This is the only way that you will be truly rich. We spend more time learning how to make a living than we do learning how to make a life. His hands can't hit what his eyes can't see. I know no fighter can survive the loss if he feels sorry for himself when he's defeated. When you are as great as I am, it is hard to be humble. When you can whip any man in the world, you never know peace. I know where I'm going, and I know the truth. And I don't have to be what you want me to be. I'm free to be what I want. If your dreams don't scare you, they aren't big enough. I should be a postage stamp. That's the only way I'll ever get licked. I had always come home like the victorious hunter, bringing back big game from the jungle. I had always been the one who picked up all the stragglers and stray followers. I figure I'll be the champ for about 10 years and then I'll let my brother take over, like the Kennedys down in Washington. I love the smell of horse and hay and the sight of their beautiful bodies. Somehow it inspired me to train harder so my body could be in condition like that. My toughest fight was with my first wife. Think well of all. Be patient with all. And try to find the good in all. Age is whatever you think it is. At home, I am a nice guy, but I don't want the world to know. Humble people, I found, don't get very far. Each time I thought I had achieved my life's purpose, I discovered it was only another step in my journey. No one starts out on top. You have to work your way up. I'm the most recognized and loved man that ever lived because there was no satellites when Jesus and Moses were around. So people far away in the villages didn't know about them. Give up what appears to be doubtful for what is certain. Truth brings peace of mind, and deception, doubt. When you win so long, so much, you forget. You think your name will win. You forget the sacrifices, the work that goes into winning. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Your hands can't hit what your eyes can't see. I do everything to make the fight come out my way. But if I'm defeated, I have to get up and come back again, no matter how humiliating the loss. My style, my stamina, my system were molded down in the basement of a church in East End. When a fighter is beaten, everybody who believes in him is beaten too. His family, his friends, his children, the people who cheer him on, who give him their love, their hope, their pride. I believe in the an eye for an eye business. I'm no cheek turner. Others may know pleasure, but pleasure is not happiness. It has no more importance than a shadow following a man. Inside of a ring or out, ain't nothing wrong with going down. It's staying down that's wrong. You lose nothing when fighting for a cause. In my mind, the losers are those who don't have a cause they care about. My only fault is that I don't realize how great I really am. Recognize how every moment of our journey is an important part of the growth of our soul. I don't have to be what you want me to be. I got speed and endurance. You better increase your insurance. There is a science to making your opponent wear down. The thing that matters is how you lose. I'm not crying. My friends should not cry. I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. A man who has no imagination has no wings. Life is a gamble. I learned to put my head within hitting range, force my opponent to throw blows, then lean back and away. It takes a lot out of a fighter to throw punches that land in thin air. My way of joking is to tell the truth. That's the funniest joke in the world. When it comes to love, compassion, and other feelings of the heart, I am rich. Impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact. It's an opinion. Impossible is not a declaration. It's a dare. Impossible is potential. Impossible is temporary. Impossible is nothing. I was a rock, yeah. I was a rock and roller. Back in my day, yeah, back in my day. But now I'm just a rock. I was a rock, yeah. I was a rock and roller. Back in my day, yeah, back in my day. Steady hold. I've grown weary and old. Still as great as I've ever been. No, I had places to be. But of course, your face is the last thing I look. I swear, ain't no one prettier, ain't no one wiser, ain't no one better. Ain't no one ain't no one better. I was a rock, I was a rock, I was a rock and roller. Back in my day, yeah, back in my day. But now I'm just a rock. I was a rock, yeah. I was a rock and roller. Back in my day, yeah, back in my day. But now I'm just a rock. If you've ever been through a difficult situation or a difficult time in your life, this podcast episode will resonate with you. I understand that a lot of things that happen to us in life, we can't control. Adversity, obstacles, turbulence, it's just a natural part of life. There are a lot of things that get said online that people say to you that really don't serve you. And it's my intention in this episode to give you some clarity, some perspective, and hopefully help you by speaking about what I've experienced in my life to help you get better outcomes and to help you weather the obstacles, turmoil, and adversity that you will face in your life. My name's Monte Lee. I am the host of the Karat Juice Podcast. And here at the Karat Juice Podcast, we observe society, we digest it, and through the nuance of it all, we attempt to progress forward. The topic at hand today has to do with fortitude, in particular, mental fortitude. As I prefaced, no matter who you are, no matter what walk of life you have, you are going to face adversity. You're going to face obstacles. You're going to be down. You're going to have bad things that happen to you. But it's my position, and what I found most helpful in my life is during those times, I don't say, woe is me. I don't get down. I look inward and I say, okay, this is what's happening to me right now. But what can I do? What can I do? How do I respond to it? I'll tell you a story. So if you're not already familiar, my profession is I'm a probation officer. Okay. I supervise people. I hold people accountable, and I'm trying to make a difference that way. Oh, I'll say about almost 5 years ago. I was establishing myself in my career, making money that was way better than I had made when I was in college and when I was going up through entry level work. So feeling good. I decided to go on vacation. Okay. I went to one of my favorite places. One of my favorite places to go on vacation is Vegas. So got it scheduled, had a time to go to Vegas for a week. Now, I would not recommend anybody do that. It wasn't a smart idea. I went to Vegas for a week. 4 days is probably the most I would say you should do this. Bruh. Okay. So we went there, did that, went to Vegas for a week, had fun. I'm not a big gambler, but I like to eat food and to kind of walk around and see the different sites and do some shopping while I'm there. So that's what I did. Spent a good amount of money. I probably say probably close to, with all things considered, about $2,000. All right. Nothing too crazy. Do that, come back. And when I came back, I had it scheduled that I was going to be living in an apartment right downtown to where I lived at, which was close to work. This apartment was way more expensive than my other apartment, but I was like, hey, I'm getting better money now. Things are good. I just got back from Vegas. I'm ready to go. All right. So I'm on a high at that point. What happens then? I go into the office, and in the middle of the day, I'm doing my paperwork, doing my work, and I get a notification, email. Hey, the administrator, the supervisor, the lead of the court wants to speak with you. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm figuring that he wants to talk to me because of what a great job I'm doing. Right. So later that day, I go in, I had just signed a lease to this new apartment, and I speak to the court administrator. I walk in, I sit down in his office, nice corner office. And he tells me, hey, Monte, you're respected. A lot of people like you. You do great work for us. But unfortunately, due to budget concerns, what have you, we're going to have to let you go. I just was silent for a moment. I didn't say anything. I just sat there, took it all in. And then I said, thank you for your time. I appreciate the opportunity that I had here. And then I went about my day. I think they gave me a little bit of time. They might have gave me a month from that time to when I would actually have to be gone. So I worked out my time. And eventually I had this higher than usual rent payment that I had to account for and no job. This is what you call adversity. And you want to know something? When that happened to me, I am grateful for it now looking back. Why am I grateful? I'm grateful because it taught me an important life lesson: to never get too comfortable. Shout out to Future. To never get too comfortable. Before getting laid off in that situation, I thought I had stability. I was comfortable. I was getting a government wage, had a nice salary, had a nice 401k plan, and that all got pulled up from under me. At that point, I was nervous. I was scared. I didn't know what I was going to do. But you want to know something? It forced me to focus. That adversity and those obstacles that I was facing now forced me to focus on what I can control. And what could I control? How I utilize my time from that day moving forward. Long story short, I ended up applying at a bunch of different places, and I ended up taking a position at a firm that does sales and marketing. At the time, I didn't know what type of sales and marketing that they did, but I figured I have good people skills. I'll make it work and be able to thrive in this position. They did a lot of personal development and self-improvement stuff. All right. Eventually, what I found out was it was direct sales. Yes, It was direct sales, going to people's doors and knocking to provide a service and a product. It's not for the faint of heart. You face a lot of rejection. You get doors slammed in your face. You have a lot of awkward moments, but I am very grateful for that time. But because it forced me to face that adversity head on, face the obstacles that I was facing, and also to use the skills that I was learning to create my own future, create my own destiny, right? What's the moral of the story? Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because you need to embrace those difficult times in your life when you don't have it all figured out and you don't know what's going on. That's what I had to do. And the reason why I'm passionate about this topic and about mental fortitude and toughness, because when you go through things like that, like I just talked about, it kind of rewires your brain. It forces you to remain present. It forces you to not depend on anyone else, to not worry about things you can't control. Why am I saying all of this? And why do I keep speaking on this topic about being productive, about being mentally strong and aware? Because I'm starting to realize that in my life, what's helped me to be successful, what's helped me to thrive and to grow as a content creator, as a podcaster, in my career with people, is using something that's called Stoicism. And I didn't even know that that's what I was doing before, but it all is starting to click with me now. What is Stoicism in a nutshell? For me, it's what I was talking about. Stoicism is all about gathering insight, knowledge, wisdom, learning from your experiences, developing a philosophy, and not focusing on outside factors that happen to you in the world. Instead, looking inward and focusing on what you can control. That's my definition of what Stoicism is. There were a ton of great philosophers and Stoics over the years, and I'm doing study on them. Right now, I am listening to the audiobook Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and I'm learning each and every day more about that. And what I am learning is, I think it's important for people to develop their own philosophy in life, to have their code that they live by, because once you do that, you'll have peace within, and you'll be content with where you are in life, and you'll know that anything that happens to you will not break you because you control your destiny. One of my favorite quotes ever is by Bruce Lee, and it's, "To hell with circumstances. I create my opportunities." To hell with whatever circumstances. Create your opportunity. Why am I talking about this? Why am I passionate about it? Because it's my experience that the world is trying to tell so many people that the reason why they're where they are, the reason why they are where they are is because of somebody oppressing them or somebody not putting them first or some disadvantage that they may have. And I'm sitting here and I'm saying, no, the reason why I'm not where I want to be, the reason why I haven't succeeded and done things that people who are super successful have done, because of choices that I have made. But you know what? I have the ability and I'm able to control my opportunities from here moving forward. Once you change your mindset in this way, there's a peace and a freedom that comes with it. I'm developing my own philosophy each and every day. I don't claim to have all the answers. I look to people with more wisdom than me to kind of navigate through this world. But I've said, and I'll continue to say, that don't let social media, don't let people talking about negative things cloud your mind, cloud your mindset. Because it's easy and it can happen without you knowing. I think that the key to true wealth and the key to true power and influence and just wisdom comes from being present. I don't even know if I'm making a lot of sense right now, but this is therapeutic for me. And if I could help one person from having this lesson in mentality, I've served my purpose of what I wanted to accomplish in this episode. See, I think that more so than anything, there are a lot of people who have stopped thinking, have stopped having those thoughts in their mind about what does this all mean? Why are we here? What's the meaning of life? And I'll say I've had those type of thoughts in my mind. I used to have them way more when I was younger. But as you go through the monotony, as you go through all of the, just normal routines of life, sometimes you can lose that dialogue. At least I know that's true for me. Like me personally, go back to the story. When I was going through that difficult time and I was doing the direct sales and stuff, it was difficult. It was the money that was coming in. You never knew what it was going to be. And I faced adversity and obstacles and turmoil and stress having to do with finances during that time because I had just got this lease for this apartment that was way more expensive than the one I had before. And I didn't have a stable income. I had an income that was based off a commission. And I was in bad shape after 4 or 5 months, like this close to facing eviction. It didn't get evicted, but I was this close to facing it. I've been through some tough stuff in my life. Having to ration out, 40 or $50 to try to make it work for the next 2 weeks because money was tight. And this was not that long ago, maybe 4 years ago. I was in some tough stuff, really difficult times. That's why this resonates with me, because I've lived it. And I think a lot of people, even if they're not saying it, are dealing with some tough things right now in their lives. If it's not due to inflation, if it's due to their health, or it's due to their mental state, people don't talk about real things that are happening to them. And I think that's unfortunate because we're all in this journey of life together. And I know that sometimes people are being tough and being, just trying to shoulder that entire load. And I don't think masculinity, I don't think being a man is about not talking about your faults or talking about trials and tribulations that you've gone through. I think there's strength with recognizing that you don't have it all figured out, but you are present and then you're focusing on what you can control in the moment. That's what I want people to start doing and to start thinking about when they're going through a tough time. What can you do right now to ensure that you're better today than you were yesterday and that you're moving towards being more productive, being more financially stable. That's why I have on this platform content like when I'm talking about developing your skill set. If you don't want to go to college, you don't have the money to go to college, you can develop in the trades and things like that, and vice versa. And also not having excuses. All right. So this series, I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but I think it's centered around like life lessons and mentality. And in all honesty, this is what I appreciate and I enjoy doing more so than anything. Just kind of having a life lessons, productivity based conversation. And this is therapeutic for me, guys. It really is. And I also wanted to bring this up in regards to the podcast. The previous schedule with the podcast was usually every Tuesday, but I'm shifting some things out around with what I'm going to be doing with the podcast. And I think moving forward, what I want to do is I want to go strictly to Fridays for the podcast, where I'll put out a podcast every Friday and we'll go from there. I appreciate people listening to the podcast, rocking with me. And for my podcast listeners, I appreciate you. Do me a favor. If you enjoy this content and you're getting value out of it, like the video, subscribe. No, not like the video. Pardon me. I make mistakes, guys. I make mistakes. All right. Don't like the video. Please go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you consume podcasts and rate and review the podcast, please. 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. Also, if you're listening to this on YouTube or Facebook, like the video, hit the notifications, and also subscribe or follow the channel. All right. So that's pretty much what I wanted to get off of my chest. It's fall time. And a lot of people are going to be at home now. A lot of people are going to be trying to figure out what the holiday season is going to be looking like. There's going to be people going and visiting family. And then there's also people who maybe aren't the most social and they're going to be spending a lot of time inside. I encourage you, when you have the time, to look into Stoicism, to look into philosophy that revolves around gathering wisdom and knowledge and what Stoicism means. I'm going to be diving deeper into this because I'm passionate about it and I think it's helpful and useful, and it's helped me in my life even when I didn't even know it, because it forced me to be present. But I really do think this could help people. It's helped me more than I could ever know. Like, for instance, when it comes to just creating content, and like, I got my YouTube channel monetized in 3 months. And it wasn't because I got lucky or anything like that. It was literally, I put out a video every day for 3 months. I was disciplined and I didn't care what the outcome was going to be at the time. Like, I put out a video, I didn't care if it got a couple views or not. To me, it was all about the process of creating the content. And every day I was getting better by publishing a piece of content. You need to have that same type of approach with whatever you're doing in life. Sometimes you're not going to get the results right away with what you're doing, whether it's becoming a real estate agent or whether it is starting your business and developing your clientele. Sometimes you're not going to get the results. The majority of the time, you're not going to get the results right away. But you have to realize that that sweat equity and that process that you're going through right now is actually helping you build up a skill set, even if you're not getting the results right now. Delayed gratification is important. We live in an instant gratification culture, however. Delayed gratification is important, but we live in an instant gratification culture. And I know that there are times initially where I'll be looking at like my analytics, or I'll be looking at something that I got going on, and I'm looking for the results to be there right away. But I have to look at myself and say, hey, I am developing a skill set and an ability to do skills that are valuable. So even if I'm not getting the results that I want right away fast, I'm still developing a skill set that's going to be so valuable in the future. So it's all about changing your mindset and your mentality when it comes to things like this. I just kind of went on a tangent about that, but I think it was worth talking about right there in that moment. So yes, for my podcast listeners, I am going to be putting out the podcast on Fridays now. Expect bonus content on the feed as well. Also, for people who just want more content regarding Carrot Juice Podcast, you can go to carrotjuicepodcast.com. carrotjuicepodcast.com. I'm also on Facebook, of course, YouTube, Instagram, as well as TikTok. You can reach out to me on Instagram if you have any ideas on any content you would like me to cover or talk about. Also, subscribe to the content again on YouTube, hit the notification bell, and also in the comment section, talk to me and interact with me. I try to respond to the comments the best I can. I want to have this be an interactive community. And yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I just wanted to provide this lesson on mental fortitude, mental strength, and the importance of it and the relevance of it in your life. Because like I've said before, we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond to it. So without further delay, I want to honor your time. That's the lesson that I have for today. So like I say every time here on the Carrot Juice Podcast, love someone, hug someone, do something good for someone, not expecting anything in return. And until we speak next time, I'll see you. We cannot enter into alliances until we are acquainted with the designs of our neighbors. When the outlook is bright, bring it before their eyes, but tell them nothing when the situation is gloomy. The worst calamities that befall an army arise from hesitation. If there is a disturbance in the camp, the general's authority hence that general is skillful in attack, whose opponent does not know what to defend. And he who is skillful in defense, whose opponent does not know what to attack. Those skilled at making the enemy move do so by creating a situation to which he must conform. They entice him with something he is certain to take, and with lures of ostensible profit they await him in strength. Energy may be likened to the bending of a crossbow. Decision to the releasing of a trigger. When your army has crossed the border, you should burn your boats and bridges in order to make it clear to everybody that you have no hankering after home. There are 5 dangerous faults which may affect a general. 1. Recklessness, which leads to destruction. 2. Cowardice, which leads to capture. 3. A hasty temper, which can be provoked by insults. 4. a delicacy of honor, which is sensitive to shame. 5. Over solicitude for his men, which exposes him to worry and trouble. Ponder and deliberate before you make a move. Rewards for good service should not be deferred a single day. Begin by ceasing something which your opponent holds dear. Then he will be amenable to your will. If words of command are not clear and distinct, if orders are not thoroughly understood, then the general is to blame. But if orders are clear and the soldiers nevertheless disobey, then it is the fault of their officers. If his forces are united, separate them. Move not unless you see an advantage. Use not your troops unless there is something to be gained. Fight not unless the position is critical. The general who advances without coveting fame and retreats without fearing disgrace, whose only thought is to protect his country and do good service for his sovereign, is the jewel of the kingdom. It is only the enlightened ruler and the wise general who will use the highest intelligence of the army for the purposes of spying, and thereby they achieve great results. If soldiers are punished before they have grown attached to you, they will not prove submissive. And unless submissive, then will be practically useless. If, when the soldiers have become attached to you, punishments are not enforced, they will still be useless. Convince your enemy that he will gain very little by attacking you. This will diminish his enthusiasm. To fight and conquer in all our battles is not supreme excellence. Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night. And when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. All warfare is based on deception. Hence, when we are able to attack, we must seem unable. When using our forces, we must appear inactive. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe we are far away. When far away, we must make him believe we are near. If your opponent is temperamental, seek to irritate him. Pretend to be weak, that he may grow arrogant. If he is taking his ease, give him no rest, If his forces are united, separate them. If sovereign and subject are in accord, put division between them. Attack him where he is unprepared. Appear where you are not expected. To know your enemy, you must become your enemy. Thus, we may know that there are 5 essentials for victory. 1. He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. 2. He will win who knows how to handle both superior and inferior forces. 3. He will win whose army is animated by the same spirit throughout all its ranks. 4. He will win who, prepared himself, waits to take the enemy unprepared. 5. He will win who has military capacity and is not interfered with by the sovereign. Treat your men as you would your own beloved sons, and they will follow you into the deepest valley. When the enemy is relaxed, make them toil. When full, starve them. When settled, make them move. So in war, the way is to avoid what is strong and strike at what is weak. To win 100 victories in 100 battles is not the acme of skill. To subdue the enemy without fighting is the acme of skill. Be extremely subtle, even to the point of formlessness. Be extremely mysterious, even to the point of soundlessness. Thereby, you can be the director of the opponent's fate. Thus, the expert in battle moves the enemy and is not moved by him. Water shapes its course according to the nature of the ground over which it flows. The soldier works out his victory in relation to the foe whom he is facing. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak. When one treats people with benevolence, justice, and righteousness, and reposes confidence in them, the army will be united in mind, and all will be happy to serve their leaders. I've had something on my mind, and I thought this was a time to be fitting to just talk about it and speak about it because it's something that's helped me, and it's been helping me in my life. There's a lot going on in the culture. People are talking about a lot of different things, talking about men, women, relationships, the state of the economy, censorship online. There's a lot of topics floating around. I've been going through a renaissance in my life, and it's all centered around self-improvement, personal growth, development. And one of the tenets that I'm starting to live by has to do with being present. The title of this episode is The Power of Living in the Moment. And it's my intention in this episode to deliver on the reason why being present in life is a gift and is something that a lot of people overlook for a variety of reasons. But I'll tell you, from my personal experience, the times when I've been conscious of it and done that, I've had the best results and been the most and felt the most fulfilled in my life. My name is Monte Lee. I am the host of the Karat Juice podcast. And at the Karat Juice podcast, we observe society, we digest it, and through the nuance of it all, we attempt to progress forward. I hope to give you some insight, some life lessons on things that you could use in your life to be more productive, successful, and present moving forward. And that's my intention, and that's what I'm going to do here for you today. I am currently listening to an audiobook by Marcus Aurelius. He was a philosopher, a Stoic, and it's Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I might link it in the show notes of this episode, but it's all about Stoicism. And Stoicism is all about, in a nutshell, not focusing on all the outside factors that you have going on in your life, because you can't control those things. Instead of doing that, continue to seek knowledge, to use your logic and reason, as well as make sure in that process you focus on the things that you can't control. The number one thing that I have been using and that I didn't even know that I was doing in my life is whenever I am in a tough situation, or whenever money's tight, or I got laid off, or I'm going through a tough time in my life and I don't know what to do next, that's when I get laser focused on what I need to do in the moment to get out of that situation. And some years ago, I was facing situations like that, and I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. And that's how I got out of some difficult times when I was on my last legs, when I was really struggling, when I didn't know where my next meal was going to come. That's what I focus on naturally. And since I've been studying and doing some more research on Stoicism and how you can live and prosper with that philosophy in your life, I'm realizing that that's the key that a lot of people, myself included, forget and is missing in their day-to-day lives. And I know why. You go to social media, you go on YouTube, you go on Instagram, you go on Facebook, and the majority of what you see is negative. Why is it negative, though? It's negative because that's what gets pushed. It's negative because that's what people naturally, a lot of people, not all, a lot of people are drawn to naturally. But it really doesn't help and serve you. And what I started to realize and started to notice was I was becoming less productive. I was looking towards the future too much, or looking at what other people had and other people had going on, rather than focusing on what I can do right here in the moment. And I've talked about this in the past on the podcast, but I think that's what the dangers is of us being so connected when it comes to social media. A lot of people aren't focusing on their situation in life because they're focused on what everybody else has going on. And that's dangerous. It's dangerous to have a snapshot of just the highlights of what people have going on in their life. Because let's be honest, let's be real. A lot of people put their best foot forward when it comes to social media, and they don't show you the lowlights. A lot of people are just looking at the highlights of people, and you never see the lowlights of what they have going on, and you start to feel bad about yourself. Especially the young and impressionable people that are online. They don't know what they're going to do yet in their life. They're looking towards the future. They are looking and they're saying, hey, what am I supposed to do here moving forward? And you could get trapped in that. I'm going to give anybody who is feeling trapped and confused and uncertain about what they're doing in their life a key, a gift. This is my gift to you. The gift that I'm giving out to you doesn't cost you a thing. All you have to do to unlock this gift is to focus on what's right in front of you. Because it's my position, and what I think is far too often in life, people are too busy looking behind them towards their past or ahead to the future and trying to figure out what they're going to do and what they're going to get and what they need to do to make it, that they forget about what's right in front of them. And if you instead focused on what's right in front of you, you will be able to have more fulfillment in life. Life will be more enjoyable. You'll be somebody that people want to be around, and you'll get to and above your goals. And I'll elaborate on that. People that people want to be around are people who are what? Charismatic, caring, people who listen to them, actually listen, actively listen. Do you know who those type of people usually are? Those are the type of people who are present and living in the moment. Those are the type of people who are just, they have that level of awareness. And that's the point that I want you to get to. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm still working on this. I don't have it all figured out. And I don't claim to have it all figured out. Me speaking on this platform, on this podcast right now, is therapeutic for me to be able to speak about these things that I'm learning. Because in the process of me speaking about the things that I'm learning when it comes to my journey, my life journey in Stoicism, the life lessons that I'm learning from it, hopefully it's going to help me, but it's also hopefully going to help you as well. And as I said, this is a podcast. Sometimes people say, "Oh, why are you speaking so? Why are you speaking slowly? Speak faster." Sorry, pardon me. This is a podcast. All right, you can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you consume podcasts. While you're there, do me a favor, rate and review the podcast, please. 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. And also, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, whatever platform you're on, like, follow, subscribe to the channel. All right. I appreciate you. Also, I have an announcement to make. I got some inspiration from a content creator that I really look up to and appreciate, Ali Abdaal, here on YouTube. And he did a podcast talking about, or an episode talking about, why everybody should start a newsletter. And he talked about it as a way to be able to add value to people, how to teach people, how to connect with your audience and also interact with your audience. And I thought it was a great idea. And I am pleased to announce that I did that. I followed through and I started a newsletter as well. It's going to be absolutely free and it's called The Juice Review. And I'll give you a little snapshot of what you can see here. I'll probably link it might be linked in the show notes. It's called The Juice Review. And then this is my newsletter right here. I'm proud to announce I'm going to be putting it out every week. I believe it's going to be released on Sundays and it's free to sign up. You just put your name, email there, and you'll get it in your mailbox. I promise to not spam your mailbox or anything. And it's just going to be some insights from me And what I'm going to be doing is providing like things that things that I'm learning, things that I'm watching, great podcasts that I've listened to. It's going to be a better way for you to be able to connect with me. I'm also going to be adding in some of the life lessons that I talk about here on this channel, as well as giving some content creation tips centered around if you want to be a content creator. And I'm going to be more in my niche and in my specialty, which would be podcasting. So if you're somebody that wants to eventually become a podcaster, if you want to learn the ropes and figure out what you need to do to get your voice heard, to get your words, to get your message and your story out there, then you should definitely check out the Juice Review. Link is going to be linked in the show notes as well as the description. I appreciate you. So when it comes to the topic of being present and in the moment, I'm going to speak from my own experience. The times when I felt the most unenthused and lackluster, almost like I had a fog in my mind or just in life, was when I was thinking about other things. Has that ever been you? Have you ever been somebody you're having a conversation with somebody, or you got something big coming up, some project that you're trying to do, or you're not happy with your job, or you're trying to figure out what you're going to do to be able to move because you don't like the situation that you're in. And your mind is constantly turning and churning and figuring out, what can I do here to get better? Where can I go with here? Who do I need to talk to get out of the situation that I'm in? I call it a fog. We've all been there, right? I have. It's a fog that just kind of glazes over me, and it actually hinders my ability to be the best version of myself. And what I'm learning and what I'm figuring out and what I'm sharing with you when it comes to Stoicism is you can clear up all of your problems and all of those situations that you're going through if you focus on what you can do inherently. What can I do in this moment today to get me to the goals that I eventually want to get to? Because I know I sometimes will constantly be thinking about where I want to be in the next couple of months, or where I want to be in a year, or what I want to accomplish. And sometimes looking ahead and looking out towards a goal too much will distract you from what's right in front of you, which is the process, the work. I don't want to sound like I'm preaching, and that's not what I mean to do. But what I'm learning right now has really been helping me. And unfortunately, what I have not been seeing so much online and especially on YouTube, because I'm a huge fan of YouTube and I've been checking it out. What's been getting pushed a lot in a lot of the algorithms has been negative content, people arguing, people constantly talking about problems, but rarely bringing up solutions. And when somebody talks about solutions, it rarely gets pushed. Why is that? Is it because it's not dramatic? Is it because it's not the easy thing to do? It does take work at times to realize where you're going wrong and where you're faltering, and put the mirror back on yourself as to why you're not where you're supposed to be. I'm going to put it on me. I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I'm not happy. I'm not content with where I'm at in life. But I do know that I'm putting in the work to get to where I need to go. I think once you can be honest with yourself and say, hey, I'm not doing everything that I can do to reach my goals, that's when you can actually trust the process and get ahead. Because this work that I've been going through and I've been doing, it's starting to shape and change the way I look at a lot of things in life. Like before, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, okay? Before, a lot of these big stories that have been happening in the news around, I don't even want to bring up the people's names, but there's been people that's been getting kicked off of the YouTube platform, okay? In the past, I might have covered some of these topics and talked about some of these things, but I know that's what the majority of people are going to do. I want to add something into the atmosphere that is something that people who are in a situation that's difficult, or they don't know how to handle a situation, they could listen to and they could get hopefully some value out of. So above all else, okay, what I think is starting to happen when it comes to so many things, especially online, is you need to start minding and being mindful of the negative thoughts, the negative media, the attention seeking type of content that's starting to pollute so much of these platforms. I'm not knocking nobody. I understand people need to get their hustle. But what I'm saying is your time above anything else in this world is the most crucial thing that everybody has. Okay? Make sure that if you're going to be spending your time on something, it's something that's going to be adding value to you in some way. I love entertainment. I love to listen to a good conversation, what have you. But it gets to a point in your life if you don't have a place to stay, if you about to get foreclosed on, if you about to go bankrupt and everything, I think it's time to start looking inwardly and being like, hey, what can I do? What do I need to do in my life to get out of this situation? And it's not focusing on what anybody else has going on in their life. That's just the honest truth. And I'm saying this because I was that person 4 or 5 years ago where I was really tough, down bad on my luck. And I couldn't afford to sit back and think about what other people had going on. I had to grind, okay? Or I was going to be out on my butt on the street. You know, I was out knocking on doors to make commissions to make money. And I did it. I did it with a smile on my face. But what I'm saying is there comes times in your life where, I mean, you just have to push through. Okay. And be present in the moment and not worry about what anybody else has going on. And this has been on my heart and on my mind because I see a lot of the youth spending a lot of time on YouTube. A lot of young men. A lot of young men, unfortunately, don't get enough attention in society as to leadership and mentorship and things that they should be thinking about and focusing on. And if I could talk to my younger self when I was, 16, 17, trying to come up, what I would say is focus on learning, focus on seeking out wisdom and knowledge, seek out mentorship, focus on developing, try to get better each day at something, ask questions, have a curious mind, and beyond all of that, put in the work. There's so many things that could distract us in our lives. And fortunately for me, I was born in the 80s, okay? Late 80s. I got to grow up in a time before these were very popular. I'm so fortunate and happy about that. Anybody watching on the replay or what have you, I know you can relate. Before these smartphones got very big, people still had to talk with one another. We still had conversations. We still went out and, socialized and stuff. And what I'm starting to see more so than anything, especially with younger people, with the youth and young people, are not socializing with one another as much. They're spending more time behind the screens. They're spending more time in online chat rooms and forums and you name it. And what the damage to that is, you can lose some of your ability to, like, your social skills, your soft skills, your ability to interact and to, have camaraderie with other people. And that's unfortunate, because that's one of the greatest gifts that fortunately I was given from the time that I grew up in. And also my experience of playing sports. Like, if you don't know, I played basketball. I played basketball in college, and I was the captain on the team, and I loved that experience because it helped to build character within me. It taught me about adversity. It taught me about competition. It also helped me to bond with my teammates and to have that camaraderie with them. And those are things that young men could really benefit from. If you can, I would, anybody that's able-bodied, I would say join sports. If you don't like sports, join a group, a team. You like to play chess. You like to, go running, cross country or whatever. Get a group, get a team, because it'll help you to be able to socialize with fellow people that are like you. And it's something that people don't talk about enough. A lot of people just want to talk about what other people have going on in their life, and they're not focusing on the things that they could do in their life to get them moving forward. I spent a lot of time as a young man listening to music, going around, looking at other stuff that other people had going on in their life, not focusing on me at times. And I would be in a way better position right now if I took the advice that I'm speaking right now. Don't worry about trying to please everybody. Think about what you want to do, what you want to accomplish in your life. Seek out mentorship, and then focus on what you can do today, this week, this month to get to those goals. And I'm just kind of ranting at this point, but that's okay. I just wanted to say something real. I just had something real to say to get off my chest, because the negativity that's starting to be spread online all the time will not serve you. It won't serve you one iota. As a man, let me be honest, let me be real with you. As a man, nobody's coming to save you. If you want something, you're going to have to go get it. The best way you could do that is focusing on this moment right now. What are you going to do in this moment to get to and above your goals? Chances are it's probably not going to be playing the video game the whole day. Chances are it's probably going to mean seeking out mentorship, figuring out if it's somebody that does something that you want to do, go and see if you could get mentorship from them. See if you could, help them with what they have going on. And in return, you might not even get compensated for it, but you might get some knowledge that could help you grow and develop. Here's a life lesson right here. As a young person growing up, it's not about money right now. The most valuable thing for a young person to get when they're coming up is knowledge. Knowledge from people who have already experienced life. Because if you could learn from somebody who's already got 15 years more experience than you in life, you can supplant them and jump ahead in knowledge without making the mistakes they made the 15 years before. Does that make sense? Learn from people who have more experience than you. It's going to help you so much more. And I know I've been a young man. I've been a young person before. Oh, I got it handled. I know what I'm doing, all of that. Listen, if somebody's willing to give you some knowledge and some game who has more experience than you, adhere to it. You can learn from those 10, 15, 20 years that they had already experienced in their life. And then you can take it as a blueprint and go and be better and do better. And it's not that we're competing with one another, but what I'm saying is utilize the resources that you have here on YouTube. If you want to do something, I always say with young people, if you want to like make more money, earn more income, get into coding, get into the trades. If you don't want to go to college, there's so many resources for young people. And I know that was kind of a tangent that I went on, but that was just on my heart. I think this is important because in this present moment that we're in currently, with everything that's starting to happen with inflation, with I just seen it was a report. There was a lot of layoffs recently. I'm talking about a lot of layoffs at a lot of major companies. So I don't want to like stoke fear in people, but people need to start getting focused and laser focused on what it is that they want to do exactly in their lives, especially for my men, because as we know, there's not a lot of programs. There's not a lot of resources for you if you do fall on hard times, if you don't have a support system or a structure. And I want you to succeed. I want you to be successful, and I want you to be the best version of yourselves. And the best way that you can do that I've learned is by being present in the moment, focusing on what you can control, not making excuses about the outside factors that might be holding you down or that you perceive or think that are holding you down. Still, nobody's going to come save you and help you. You got to figure it out. And the best way I can tell you from experience, you can do that is by focusing on what you can control. And I think that I've learned a lot these past, how long has it been that I've been doing this podcast now? I've learned so much in the past. It's been like a year and a half. I think this is officially episode number 79 of the podcast. Yes, I think it's episode 70. We're getting up there. And just a reminder for my audio listeners, I used to release the podcast every Tuesday. Now the podcast is going to be getting released. You're going to get an episode at least every Friday. All right. So we got a new posting schedule. Get an episode every Friday. Subscribe on YouTube, like the channel, hit the notification bell, because you never know when I'm going to go live. I just go live, at a whim. You never know when I'm going to go live. So make sure that you are subscribed on YouTube as well. This is episode number 79 of the Karat Juice podcast. And also, housekeeping stuff, karatjuicepodcast.com. Go to karatjuicepodcast.com for everything Karat Juice Podcast. Also, check out the newsletter. We got another commercial for that. Check out the newsletter here for free. It's going to be linked in the description in the show notes, where I'm going to be providing insights on culture. I'll be providing some practical life lessons, productivity insights. I'll even be talking about content creation, specifically giving tips for people who want to start their own podcast. I have experience and some expertise on this, so I can definitely help you out, and you can learn from some of the mistakes and also some of the wins that I've made. Subscribe to the newsletter, The Juice Review. I appreciate you. Also, yes, lastly, I have a Reddit community that I built and I started. It is called Karat Juice Podcast, our Karat Juice Podcast. It should be in the show notes too, linked in the description. And there, I just wanted to have a place where I could speak to the community, speak to people, and we could chat about things that we have going on. So if you want to be on Reddit, I want to be able to interact and, chat with people. So do me a favor and go ahead and join the Reddit if you want to interact with me that way. If you don't like Reddit, you don't want to do it, fine. That's cool either. Oh, and we got somebody right here adding a comment. Shout out to you, James Hartley. So James Hartley says, hey, KJP, how are you doing? I'm doing well, sir. Shout out to you. He said, I'm sadly not a young man anymore, and I'm always trying to learn from others. Awesome. Yes, I agree. Shout out to you. I appreciate you interacting on the broadcast, but I agree. Yes. I always say people should never stop learning. You should never stop learning, because I don't know if it's for me, but once I stop learning, I feel stagnant in life. So I'm always either listening to a podcast, audio book, checking out stuff on YouTube, trying to figure out what I can do. Because and I think the people that I'm drawn to, I've always had a curious mind. Like somebody's podcast that I used to listen to and all the time was Joe Rogan's, because he, even if he didn't believe in the person that he was interviewing, he was curious about what they were talking about or things that people have done in their life. And he would question and he would be curious. And I think that having a curious mind is something that's just like a great spice of life that will help you to always be present in the moment and learning and developing and growing. So yeah, shout out to you. Appreciate you interacting on the channel. Lastly, this is what I'll say, man. Like, I'm going to be doing live streams from time to time. So make sure you like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the podcast feed for my people who just want to be podcast listeners. But in regards to YouTube, in regards to content creation and all this type of stuff, this is something that if you want to be a content creator, if you want to create your own podcast and things like that, it is not something that it's not something that's going to be an instant gratification type of thing. And I think that's why I like it. I like it because it's something I constantly have to constantly something I am trying to learn and to get better at and to develop. And it forces me to like stay on task. It forces me to have a process about how I'm doing things. That's why I'm drawn to creating content and also just expressing myself. I think, especially for men, it's important for us to get our message out there. I choose, and I want to make sure that the message that I'm putting out is one that's about self-improvement, progress, growth, and personal development. But I think it's important for people to be able to speak. And in light of a lot of the stuff that's been happening online with people getting banned off of platforms and stuff like that, I do think that you have to be wise about what you say and you have to stand on what you say. But I think it's important for people to have a voice and to hear people speak who have a differing opinion than you, because if you try to shun the people who don't think the same way that you do, that's when you can get into a dangerous space, because I think it's important to form a deeper level of understanding. We have opposing sides. Nobody wants an echo chamber when it comes to media. And right here, this is independent media. This is the Karat Juice podcast, again, where we observe society, we digest it, and through the nuance of it all, we attempt to progress forward. Welcome to the Karat Juice podcast. I am your host, Monte Lee, and here in this episode, we're discussing something that's very important. I wanted to talk about and have a real conversation with you today. And I wanted to talk about the importance of purpose. And if you don't have it, how lost you could really be in life. Here at the Karat Juice podcast, we observe society, we digest it, and through the nuance of it all, we attempt to make progress. Now, I know a lot of people deal with a lot of different obstacles, trials, and tribulations in their lives. We all have things that we're going through. We all have specific weaknesses and strengths. But I've been going through a kind of renaissance in my life. And I wanted to share it with you because I thought this would be impactful. If I'm going to speak for myself, in times where I felt the most indifferent, lost, down, and really unengaged and enthused with life is when I don't have a specific plan and purpose to what I'm doing. Is that you? Are you currently in a situation right now where you don't know what the future holds for you? You're going to a job that you're doing it just to get by, but you really aren't passionate about what you do. You're not even really able to make ends meet. You're feeling like you're lacking that enthusiasm about life right now. If that's you and your situation, I don't want to knock on you, and I don't want to, what's the best way to put it? I don't want to knock you down, because I felt that way in certain things that I've had to do in my life. I've alluded to a couple of times here that I have been laid off twice from my job. And if you don't know, I currently work as a probation officer, but I've been laid off twice. And during that time, those were some of the lowest points in my life, because in that interim time, I'm somebody that's used to financial stability. I'm used to knowing what's going to be coming in and what's going to be going out. And during that time in my life, I had uncertainty. I wasn't sure. I had a couple of months saved up, but I wasn't sure how I was going to get by, because it was unexpected when I got laid off, especially the first time. Right after that happened, I started applying for other jobs and trying to figure out what I was going to do, because at the time, my rent was going to be coming and I only had so much money saved. So you know how it goes. I eventually landed a job. I landed a position doing sales. Okay. The type of sales that I was doing is not for everybody. I was doing direct sales. What is that, you ask? I was going and I was selling a product direct to consumer. I was knocking on doors to get it. During that season of my life, I call it, that season of my life was all about productivity, development, and growth, and being uncomfortable, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I was going and I was making less than I had ever made. I was making way less than I was making in my career. But what I will say is, in those 6 or 7 months that I was doing that, direct selling and knocking on doors, I faced more rejection than I have in my entire life. And you want to know something? It helped me more than you could ever know, because I had to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think a lot of people lose that. I think that's what's been lost more so than anything when it comes to our nature as human beings. I think that once you realize what you're capable of and what you can do, you'll start to realize that being one of the worst places you can be at in life and one of the worst states you can be in is feeling like everything's taken care of. You got nothing else to do. You got enough money. And then you're just indifferent, lack enthusiasm in life. That moment, those tough times actually helped to harden and condition me to be successful moving forward because I wasn't afraid of rejection. I wasn't afraid of getting the door slammed in my face. I had to do what I had to do to survive. But through all of that, it built character. It hardened me. It helped me to focus on the present and focusing on getting better by 1 degree each day rather than relying on a steady paycheck like I had all the years before. Now, I am not by any means saying you should quit your job and go and do direct sales because it's not for everybody. But what I can say is that you can learn from my experience and what I went through and hopefully apply it to your life so you could find purpose in what you're doing. I don't know. I just kind of had this on my mind because I don't know if it's you or if it's just me, but I've started to realize and started to notice that a lot of people are lacking purpose. We're glued to our phones all the time. We're watching other people live their lives and talk about things. We're watching the headlines. Celebrities did this, or this influential person did this or that. But at the end of the day, they're just people. They're just people trying to make it, trying to do what they want to do. But is there more? Is there more to life than just the headlines? Is there more to life than your next paycheck? Is there more to life than the bills that you have upcoming? Is there more than life? Is there more to life than that girl that you're trying to date? I think it is. I think that the majority of people who are going about their day-to-day lives don't stop and take a moment to just recognize and realize if what they're doing in the moment is what they actually want to do. And I think that's sad. I think that once you can have self-awareness and recognize what's going on around you, you can be more present in the conversations that you're having with people. You can actually draft up a plan and figure out what you actually want to do in your life. And then you can move towards that goal. It's my intention on this platform to provide you with information, knowledge, and also help you to improve your mentality so that you can get better results out of life. Part of me fulfilling my purpose now, more so than anything, is this platform, is this podcast, is me speaking directly to you and trying to help you reach your fullest potential. Because I'll tell you another thing about purpose. I think that once you stop making it all about you when it comes to life, that's when you can reach something beyond what happiness is. That's when you can reach something that's more impactful and true than happiness, because happiness is fleeting. If someone is just only seeking happiness, they're going to fail. It needs to be more than that. It needs to be deeper. What's deeper than happiness, you ask? What's deeper than happiness? Well, for me, I would like to say that to really reach the next level, you have to be fulfilled. You have to reach fulfillment. And that comes from serving other people, being present in the moment, and having purpose behind what you do. Something that you actually want to do, where you're adding value to people, where you're serving others, where you are fulfilled in what you're doing. And it's not just about monetary possessions. If you ask a lot of people who are very wealthy, once they attain all that wealth, it's going to make money for itself with the income compounding if you put it in an investment portfolio. At some point, it's more than just obtaining material things. We're not going to be able to take any of it with us when we leave. What remains after that? Why are we here? And that question has been in the back of my mind recently. Like I have this call and this pull to want to do more, say more, help people. And I'm not selling anything. I don't even have a course. I don't have, anything that I'm trying to sell you. And I wanted to share this with you. I was, earlier this week, I was on my lunch hour and I was coming back from grabbing some food, and a young man stopped me on the street. And I really didn't recognize him at first, but then he said my name and he said hi to me. And it seems like he had fallen on some hard times and wasn't in the best shape as far as financially and what's going on with his life. But I stopped and I chopped it up with him. And I asked him how he was doing. And I could see in his face that he hadn't been doing the best, just from the trials and tribulations of life. But he told me, and I didn't even know that he was following. He said, I listened to your podcast, man, and it's really helped me. And it's helped me to get some more information about things I want to do. And he said he had been searching for new jobs and applying and thinking about getting into coding, thinking about doing some type of work where he can make more money. And I also encouraged him to think about trades. I encouraged him to think about things where he could use his skill set to get into a better situation financially, mentally, et cetera, et cetera. And before we parted ways, I asked him like where he stayed or whatever. And he said he had been living in the shelter. And that hit me because I grew up knowing this young man, and he's always been a very kind soul and somebody who has potential. And it does warm my heart to know that the information that I'm putting out is actually going to be helping people and actually helping them to reach their goals. This episode isn't about stats. This episode isn't about tangible, actionable steps. This is a lesson in mentality. This is, I hope, going to be cleansing and nurturing and soothing and able to build you up here in your mind. And I've had people before on my podcast or on my channel here say, speed it up. You're not talking fast enough. Come on. What are you doing? What's going on? And I've politely told them, this is just not for you then. I understand that content needs to be entertaining. I understand that you got to have value that you're adding back to people. But damn it, sometimes you just need to be real and get real. Sometimes you need to be like, look, you have to listen to me. You have to find what your purpose is in life, not for anybody else. You have to find your purpose for you and nobody else. Listen, if you're happy with where you are, if you're content, great. But I'm speaking to the people who are not happy with their situation, and I've been there. You know, I've been laid off. I've been working jobs that I don't like, but I had to do it to get by. And I want to let you know that I know about that type of thing. I understand. I resonate with your struggle, and I want you to get out of it. But I know the first step to anybody getting out of the situation that they're in and becoming a productive person that's successful, that's able to provide for their family, able to, you know, break the chain and break the curse of all the obstacles and things that you've been going through. It starts here with your mentality. And sometimes that means you need to slow down, because so much content that comes out today is built just to keep your attention. But it's not built to actually nourish you where it matters, to have an actual interaction and a human connection. That's what I want to do. Sometimes we need to slow down, and we just need to figure out what we want. Does that make sense? I don't want to be like everybody else. It's not my intention to just entertain you with this. I'm trying to lift you up and build you up here. And I think that comes with building up an attention span first, being mindful and aware of what you're doing, and then drafting up a plan on where you want to go, what you want to do, and then moving towards that goal day by day. I have other content where we're going to be giving you actionable steps and a way to do that, and an approach on how to reach those goals. You can look at some of my other content on that. I had a great live stream that I did last week where we talked about skills, the importance of skills if you want to increase your income. But before you can do any of that, you have to change your mentality and your approach if you want to do better. Because I found a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people who are struggling have fallen into something I call the victim mentality, where they think that the reason why they're not where they want to be in life is because of somebody else, not because of their decisions or their lack of ambition or their circumstances. Look, I understand that everybody has their different trials and tribulations that they do in life, but you allow yourself to stay there if you succumb to a mentality that says it's everybody else's fault. The reason why I'm not where I want to be is because of somebody else, is because of this, that, and that. No. The key to freeing yourself from the shackles that you're in when it comes to your mentality being constrained is you not taking ownership for what you can control. Hear me out. This is important. The moment you stop focusing solely on other people and the circumstances that you're in and not taking ownership for what you do, The quicker you do that, the quicker you can free yourself from the shackles of the victimhood that will keep you down because you're shackled in your mentality. What do you think the difference is from somebody who, there's a lot of people who are self-made millionaires. There's a lot of people who start companies every day. A lot of them fail. A lot of them fail. But there's also a lot of them that succeed. The only difference is the person's mentality. A lot of people who are successful entrepreneurs, business people, successful people in general, a lot of them fail multiple times before they ever reach any semblance of success. The only difference from them and the people who give up is that they refuse to succumb to their obstacles, circumstances. Their mentality is stronger. My mantra, and one of my mantras that I've always used when it comes to just my mentality, when it comes to approaching things, is one of my favorite quotes by Bruce Lee. To hell with circumstances. I create my opportunities. To hell with circumstances. Create your opportunity, and you cannot fail. I hope this is making sense. If you're getting value out of this, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. For my audio podcast listeners, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for listening and rocking out with me. Do me a favor, if you enjoy the content and the podcast, rate and review the podcast, please. 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you consume podcasts. Okay. I'm going to be more active here on the podcast channel. And I am bringing a lot of content that has to do with improving your mentality. All right. How to increase your income. Also, how to be more productive when it comes to, if you want to just be a more successful person, if you want to be more aware, because I'm fascinated and I appreciate things like that. I'm curious and intrigued by people who are successful, who are productive, who know more than I do. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I don't claim to have all the answers. What is it that Sway said to Kanye? No, what did Kanye say to Sway? You ain't got the answers, Sway. You ain't got the answers. I ain't got all the answers, bruh. I don't have it. I don't claim to. However, I will get the answer and I'll figure out how something works and I'll focus on getting better by 1 degree each day. That's the mentality that I have. Put it on podcasting. I didn't know anything about podcasting when I first got started. I like podcasts, but here we go. We're now, a year and a half in, and I've produced hundreds of podcast episodes now. And I appreciate the craft. I appreciate telling stories. I appreciate expressing myself. And I think you can do the same with whatever you find purpose in. But you have to find your purpose in life. If you don't, then it's going to lack. You're going to lack that zest, that enthusiasm for life. And I don't want that for you. You were meant to do much more. I truly believe that. Especially if you're somebody that's here, you're still listening. That means you have an attention span. That means that you're somebody that I can resonate and relate to. Because first and foremost, this is a podcast. All right. I'm not going to try to be like nobody else. I'm not going to try to create, spectacle content or anything like that, because that's just not me. A little bit about me. I'm a regular. I like normal stuff. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of background inside baseball on me. I love documentaries. I'm a documentary snob. Netflix has some of the best documentaries you could ever watch. Okay, I like to. What the Health was really great. What is it? I just seen one recently. It was talking about the 13th. That one was really good. I like documentaries, man. The Explain series by Vox, stellar. I like to learn things. I'm constantly learning. If I'm not learning, I feel stagnant. Let me know let me know something that's a quirk for you. Let me know if what you like to watch. I'm a documentary guy. One of the best documentaries that I've ever watched was actually, can I say this is a documentary? Yeah, I can say it's a documentary because it's based on a true story. HBO Chernobyl. If you haven't watched the HBO series on Chernobyl, I think it's like 6 episodes, stellar. It's about the Chernobyl nuclear power plant disaster that happened in Kiev. Must watch. Okay. But that's a little bit of background on me. Give you a little nugget, a little inside baseball. But I say all of that to say, let me get it back home. This episode was about finding your purpose, finding your passion. And it's important to do that to really make life something that's worth living, worth I always say if you're indifferent or you don't have purpose, that's when people kind of start to engage in some destructive behaviors. A lot of people who don't have purpose, they don't realize that that's the issue with a lot of the things that they do to sabotage themselves and to sabotage their lives. And I don't want that for you. One of the best things that ever happened to me was being uncomfortable for a moment and not really having that certainty of not knowing what was going on. And when I was backed against the wall, I didn't know where my next check was going to come from. I was going and knocking on doors and trying to make it happen when it came to money because my money was running thin. I actually was at peace. I found peace in that discomfort. Can you believe that? Why did I find peace in that discomfort? Because I had no choice but to be very aware of what was going on and to make it happen. I think that's what happens to anybody when they find purpose. It doesn't feel like work when you're doing something. Yeah, it's hard and it's not always a great day, but when you know you're doing something that you're meant to do, you kind of get that glint in your eye and you're like, yo, this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm supposed to do. And I think that's what's happening with me right now. And I'm so excited about it. And I'm looking forward to adding more value to you guys here on this platform. And I also want to make sure that I am like, let me know in the comments. Let me know when you are like consuming more content that I have going on and stuff like that, that you let me know in the comments. Let me know. I'm on social, Instagram, TikTok, everything. Let me know what you're thinking about the podcast. If you have any ideas on things that you want me to cover, but I'm leaning into this productivity and it's been great. Just check. Last time I did one of these lives, it had been wild, man. I actually, I did a live, little inside baseball too. I did a live, like, was it last week? And I was recording it, doing everything that I needed to do. And then come to find out, I didn't I checked my vocals at the beginning of the live and I muted it. And I went for like 20, 25 minutes. I was going in. I was really feeling it animated. It was a great episode. I looked down at my mixer. It was still muted. So I had talked for like 20, 25 minutes and I had to start it over. I didn't even do it that day. I just bounced. I was heated at that point, but I wasn't going to let that deter me. I still laid down the episode the next day, and it was one of the better episodes that I've ever created. I say all of that to say that you need to find your purpose, because once you find your purpose, you will have that marker to go after, to go towards. And it's not about gaining money. It's not about gaining notoriety. It's not about gaining vanity metrics. No, it's about more than that. It's about impacting other people. All right. Being fulfilled, truly fulfilled. And I think that comes from finding your purpose, no matter what that is. I look forward to seeing and hearing and, observing what you create. And anybody who, I lost my train of thought there, but that's okay. Give myself some grace there. More so than anything, and I'll kind of put a bow on it with this. More so than anything, don't let anybody tell you that you should just be happy with where you are if that's not what you want. Don't let anybody tell you that you should just be happy with where you are if that's not what you want. If you have a dream, if you have a passion, if you want something, then go after it. You're going to fail on the way, but I'd rather have you do that and fall forward going towards something you want to do than staying stagnant in the current situation that you're in and not progressing. Because you know what they always say? You know what's one of the worst things ever? You know what's one of the worst things ever? Is when somebody has the potential to do something great and they squander that opportunity. You have potential to do something great. Don't squander your opportunity just because you're indifferent and you don't have direction and you don't have purpose. That's a lost opportunity. I've been saying, and I've been putting everything through this lens lately, and it's been working wonders for me, and hopefully it'll help you out. Oliver Berkman, author, created a book called 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals. And in that book, the grand theme of it all is everybody who lives a full life has 4,000 weeks. That's it. 4,000 weeks to live. There's 52 weeks in a year. 4,000 weeks to live. Okay? If you're around 37, 38, you're nearly halfway there. What are you going to do with the next 2,000 weeks to make life something that's fulfilling for you, that's nourishing for you, where you help other people and not just yourself? I'll put a bow on the episode with that. We need to be more intentional about how we spend our time, about the interactions that we have with people, because one of the most beautiful things about life is time and our moments with people. Time is not finite. It's the most valuable resource in this world. Don't waste your time. Don't do that. Use your time to impact others, to add value to the world, and in turn, you will be fulfilled. Trust me. 4,000 weeks. What you going to do this week to make sure that you are making the most of your life. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for somebody else. Do it for you. Self-made Rish. How you been? Shout out to you. Actually, shout out to you. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being a supporter to the channel. I really appreciate you. Positive vibes to you. Yes, we are leaning into productivity, mentality. So to recap this episode, we talked about why you need purpose. All right. I went into a story talking about some trials and tribulations that I had me knocking on doors after I got laid off. But you know what? I'm grateful for that time because it helped me to find my purpose. It helped me to realize that in life, it's not about your circumstances, the obstacles that you face, trials and tribulations you've been through. It's how you respond to it and move forward after that. And lastly, I want you to find purpose in what you're doing, because that's when you'll find something that's deeper and more important than happiness. You'll find fulfillment. And hopefully you'll build a legacy and you'll be remembered beyond just this time we have right now. So that's my message to you. I hope you found value out of this. Do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel for the YouTube algorithm. And like I say every time, here at the Karat Juice Podcast, observe society. No, that's my beginning intro. Say that again. Like I say every time here at the Karat Juice Podcast, love someone, hug someone, do something good for someone, not expecting anything in return. And until next time, peace. We are gone. Dedication makes dreams come true. We psych ourselves up too much. Like if you try to talk yourself into, oh, this is a big moment. This is a big shot. You're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. You shot that shot hundreds and thousands of times. Just shoot another one. Once you know what failure feels like, determination chases success. There's a big misconception where people think winning or success comes from everybody putting their arms around each other and singing Kumbaya and patting them on the back when they mess up. And that's not reality. If you are going to be a leader, you are not going to please everybody. You have to hold people accountable, even if you have that moment of being uncomfortable. The most important thing is you must put everybody on notice that you're here and you are for real. I see the beauty in getting up in the morning and being in pain because I know all the hard work that it took to get to this point. So, I'm not sad about it, retiring. I'm very appreciative of what I've had. After all, greatness is not for everybody. I can't relate to lazy people. We don't speak the same language. I don't understand you. I don't want to understand you. Have a good time. Life is too short to get bogged down and be discouraged. You have to keep moving. You have to keep going. Put one foot in front of the other. Smile and just keep on rolling. May you always remember to enjoy the road, especially when it's a hard one. There's nothing truly to be afraid of when you think about it, because I've failed before and I woke up the next morning and I'm okay. People say bad things about you in the paper on Monday, and then on Wednesday, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. I've seen that cycle. So why would I be nervous about it happening? If you're afraid to fail, then you're probably going to fail. Losing is losing. There are different degrees of losing. You either win a championship or you're shit. It's very black and white to me. The beauty of coaching is growing the players from the ground up. That journey continues. Use your success, wealth, and influence to put them in the best position to realize their own dreams and find their true purpose. I want to learn how to become the best basketball player in the world. And if I'm going to learn that, I gotta learn from the best. Kids go to school to be doctors or lawyers, so forth and so on, and that's where they study. My place to study is from the best. A lot of leaders fail because they don't have the bravery to touch that nerve or strike that chord. I have self-doubt. I have insecurity. I have fear of failure. I have nights when I show up at the arena and I'm like, my back hurts, my feet hurt, my knees hurt. I don't have it. I just want to chill. We all have self-doubt. You don't deny it, but you also don't capitulate to it. You embrace it. Trust me, setting things up right from the beginning will avoid a ton of tears and heartache. The last time I was intimidated was when I was 6 years old in karate class. I was an orange belt, and the instructor ordered me to fight a black belt who was a couple years older and a lot bigger. I was scared shitless. I was terrified, and he kicked my ass. But then I realized he didn't kick my ass as bad as I thought he was going to, and that there was nothing really to be afraid of. These young guys are playing checkers. I'm out there playing chess. I want to see if I can. I don't know if I can. I want to find out. I want to see. I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to break it down to its smallest form, smallest detail, and go after it, day by day, one day at a time. I create my own path. It was straight and narrow. I looked at it this way. You were either in my way or out of it. Be sad, be mad, be frustrated, scream, cry, sulk. When you wake up, you will think it was just a nightmare, only to realize it's all too real. You will be angry and wish for the day back, the game back, that play back. But reality gives nothing back, and nor should you. When I have the chance to guard Michael Jordan, I want to guard him. I want him. It's the ultimate challenge. A lot of people say they want to be great, but they're not willing to make the sacrifices necessary to achieve greatness. I've shot too much from the time I was 8 years old. But too much is a matter of perspective. Some people thought Mozart had too many notes in his compositions. Let me put it this way. I entertain people who say I shoot too much. I find it very interesting. Going back to Mozart, he responded to critics by saying, there were neither too many notes or too few. There were as many as necessary. It's hard for me to grasp the concept of somebody being nervous when I'm talking to them. I never looked at basketball as work. I didn't realize it was work until my first year in the NBA. When I came around, I was surrounded by other professionals, and I thought basketball was going to be everything to them. And it wasn't. And I was like, this is different. I thought everybody was so obsessive about the game like me. It was like, no? Oh, that's hard work? I get it now. From the beginning, I wanted to be the best. I had a constant craving, a yearning to improve and be the best. I had to organize things, so I created the Black MAMBA. So Kobe has to deal with these issues, all the personal challenges. The Black MAMBA steps on the court and does what he does. I'm destroying everybody that steps on the court. My parents are my backbone, still are. They're the only group that will support you if you score 0 or you score 40. I never needed any external forces to motivate me. Pain doesn't tell you when you ought to stop. Pain is the little voice in your head that tries to hold you back because it knows if you continue, you will change. You guys know how I am. I don't forget anything. I saw you come in, and I wanted you to know that it doesn't matter how hard you work, that I'm willing to work harder than you. I'm extremely willful to win, and I respond to challenges. It's not a challenge to me to win the scoring title, because I know I can. Leadership is lonely. I'm not going to be afraid of confrontation to get us to where we need to go. The important thing is that your teammates have to know you're pulling for them and you really want them to be successful. Everything negative, pressure, challenges, is all an opportunity for me to rise. I realized that intimidation didn't really exist if you're in the right frame of mind. There's no need to get too crazy or bent out of shape. There are still challenges every day, but I'm still having fun. I was born to play this game. I still love it. This is the moment. I accept the most challenging times will always be behind me and in front of me. Great things come from hard work and perseverance. No excuses. The moment you give up is the moment you let someone else win. The message was that if you want to win championships, you have to let people focus on what they do best while you focus on what you do best. For me, that was rebounding, running the floor, and blocking shots. If I wanted to play, I'd still be playing for the Lakers. The most important thing is to try and inspire people so that they can be great at whatever they want to do. When you make a choice and say, come hell or high water, I am going to be this, then you should not be surprised when you are that. It should not be something that is intoxicating or out of character because you have seen this moment for so long that when that moment comes, of course, it is here because it has been here the whole time, because it has been in your mind the whole time. I love that kids are building confidence on and off the court and unlocking their potential through sport. I don't want to be the next Michael Jordan. I only want to be Kobe Bryant. I'll do whatever it takes to win games. Whether it's sitting on a bench waving a towel, handing a cup of water to a teammate, or hitting the game-winning shot. I don't fuck with bees, man. Other than that, I'm not afraid of nothing. If you do not believe in yourself, no one will do it for you. I'm reflective only in the sense that I learn to move forward. I reflect with a purpose. I got one more than Shaq, so you could take that to the bank. We all can be masters at our craft, but you have to make a choice. What I mean by that is, there are inherent sacrifices that come along with that. Family time, hanging out with friends, being a great friend, being a great son, nephew, whatever the case may be. There are sacrifices that come along with making that decision. We can always kind of be average and do what's normal. I'm not in this to do what's normal. There's been a lot of talk of me being a one-man show, but that's simply not the case. We win games when I score 40 points, and we've won when I score 10. Haters are a good problem to have. Nobody hates the good ones. They hate the great ones. Boos don't block dunks. The beauty in being blessed with talent is rising above doubters to create a beautiful moment. Winning takes precedence overall. There's no gray area, no almost. I don't want chumps. I don't want pushovers. And if you're a chump and a pushover, I will run over you. Take it all in. Sit back and watch and listen and hear all the hate that's being thrown at us. And remember, every person that's kicking you when you're down, because next year, it ain't gonna be this way. Appreciate it now. Let it sit in now, because revenge is sweet and it's quick. Friends can come and go, but banners hang forever. There's certain players that I've made cry. If I can make you cry by being sarcastic, then I really don't want to play with you in the playoffs. You are responsible for how people remember you or don't. So don't take it lightly. When we are saying this cannot be accomplished, this cannot be done, then we are shortchanging ourselves. My brain, it cannot process failure. It will not process failure. Because if I have to sit there and face myself and tell myself, you are a failure, I think that is almost worse than dying.